Page 170, Spies Sent Out, Chapter 14.
Like SBS Chill, check out our playlists.
Then all the congregation was in commotion, and lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. 2. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, and the whole congregation said to them, Would God we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God that we had died in this wilderness? 3. Why has the Lord brought us into this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should be a prey? We were better off when we dwelt in Egypt. Page 171. The people murmur. 4. And they said to one another, Let us appoint a leader, and let us return to Egypt. 5. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. 6. And Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were of those who had spied out the land, rent their clothes. 7. And they said to all the congregation, to the children of Israel, The land which we passed to spy out, is an exceedingly good land. 8. If the Lord delights in us, he will bring us into this land, and will give it to us, a land which flows indeed with milk and honey. 9. Only do not rebel against the Lord, neither be afraid of the people of the land. For their conquest will be easy as eating bread. In Aramaic, when a task is simple or easy, it is said, it is like eating bread. Their strength has left them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. 10. But the whole congregation said to stone them with stones. And the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud in the tabernacle of the congregation before the children of Israel. 11. And the Lord said to Moses, How long will this people provoke me? How long will they not believe me for all the signs which I have done among them? 12. I will smite them with pestilence and destroy them. I will make of them a nation, and I will make of you a nation which is greater and mightier than they. 13. And Moses said to the Lord, Then the Egyptians shall hear it, for thou didst bring up this people in thy might from among them. 14. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that thou, Lord, art in the midst of this people, that thou, Lord, art seen face to face, and their cloud stands over them, and thou goest before them in a pillar of cloud by day and in a pillar of fire by night. 15. And if thou shalt kill all this people as one man, then the nations who have heard the fame of thee will say, 16. Because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land which he swore to them, therefore he has slain them in the wilderness. 17. And now let thy power, O Lord, be great according as thou hast spoken, saying, 18. The Lord is long-suffering and of great mercy, and thou forgivest iniquity and transgression, by no means clearing the guilty, but visiting the iniquity of their fathers upon the children and upon their children's children, to the third and fourth generation. 19. Pardon the iniquity of this people, according to the greatness of thy mercy, as thou hast forgiven them from Egypt, even until now. 20. And the Lord said to Moses, I have forgiven them according to your word. 21. But as truly as I live, the whole earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. 22. And yet all the men who have seen my glory and the signs which I did in Egypt, in the wilderness, have tempted me. Behold now, these 10 times have not hearkened to my voice. 23. Surely they shall not see the land which I swore to their fathers, neither shall any one of those who provoked me see it. But my servant Caleb, 24, but my servant Caleb, because he has my spirit with him, and has followed me fully, I'll bring into the land into which he went, and his descendants shall possess it. 25. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the mountains. Tomorrow turned and sent forth for the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. 26. And the Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, 27. How long shall this wicked congregation murmur in my presence? I've heard the complaints of the children of Israel, which they murmur in my presence. Page 172. God is displeased. 28. Say to them, as I live, says the Lord, as you have spoken in my presence, so I will do to you. Your corpses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you according to your whole congregation from 20 years old and upward, because you have murmured against me. 30. You shall not come into the land concerning which I swore to make you dwell therein, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. 31. But your little ones, who you said would become the prey, and your sons who today do not know good and evil, they shall enter into the land, and I will bring them there, and they shall know the land which you have despised. 32. But as for you, your corpses shall fall in the wilderness. 33. And your sons shall be shepherds 40 years in this wilderness, and shall suffer for your whoredom until your corpses are consumed in this wilderness. 34. According to the number of the days in which you spied out the land, even 40 days, a year for each day, shall you suffer for your iniquities 40 years, and you shall know that it is because you have murmured before me. "35. I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it to all this evil generation that are gathered together before me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die." 36. And the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, who returned and made all the congregation murmur against him by publishing an evil report concerning the land. 37. These men who published an evil report of the land died by a sudden plague before the Lord. 38. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were of the men who went to spy out the land, still lived. 39. And Moses told these things to all the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. 40. And they rose up early in the morning, and went up to the top of the mountain, saying, Behold, we will go up to the place which the Lord has promised us, to have, for we have sinned. 41. And Moses said to them, Why now do you transgress the commandment of the Lord? Therefore you shall not succeed. 42. Do not go up, for the Lord is not with you, yes, lest you be defeated before your enemies. 43. For the Canaanites and the Amalekites are there before you. You shall fall by the sword, because you have turned away from following the Lord. Therefore the Lord will not be with you. 44. Yet they started to go up to the top of the mountain, but neither the ark of the covenant of the Lord nor Moses departed out of the camp. 45. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who dwelt on the mountain came down and smote them, and pursued them as far as Hormah. Chapter 15. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land of your habitation, which I give to you for an inheritance, 3, you shall offer an offering to the Lord, a burnt offering or a sacrifice, in performing a vow, or in a freewill offering, or in your solemn feast, to make a sweet savour to the Lord of your herd or of your flock. 4. Then he who offers his offering to the Lord, bring a meal offering and a 10th part of an ephah of the mixed flour with a 4th part of a hin of oil, mixed with the 4th part of a hin of oil. 5. And a 4th part of a hin of wine for a drink offering shall you offer with the burnt offering or the sacrifice for one lamb. 6. Or for a ram you shall prepare for a meal offering 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with a 3rd part of a hin of oil. 7. And for a drink offering you shall offer a 3rd part of a hin of wine for a sweet savour to the Lord. 8. And you shall offer a bullock for a burnt offering or for a sacrifice in performing a vow, or as a peace offering to the Lord. Page 173, Laws of Offerings. 9. Then you shall offer with the bullock a meal offering of 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with half a hin of oil. 10. And you shall bring for a drink offering half a hin of wine, and for an offering made by fire of a sweet savour to the Lord. 11. Thus you shall do for one bullock, or for one ram, or for one lamb, or a kid of the goats. 12. According to the number that you shall prepare, you shall do to every one according to their number. 13. All the house of Israel shall do these things after this manner, and shall offer an offering made by fire of a sweet savour to the Lord. 14. And if a proselyte sojourns with you, or whoever is among you throughout your generations, and will offer an offering made by fire of a sweet savour to the Lord, as you do, so shall he do. 12. One ordinance shall be both for you and for your proselyte who sojourns with you, or an ordinance forever throughout your generations. The proselyte shall be like you before the Lord. 16. One law and one ordinance shall be for you, and for the proselyte who sojourns with you. 17. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, 18. Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, when you come into the land whither I will bring you. 19. Then it shall be that when you eat of the bread of the land, you shall offer up a heave offering to the Lord. 20. And you shall offer up a cake of the first of your dough as an offering to the Lord, as you make the offerings of the threshing floor, so shall you offer it. 21. Of the first of your dough you shall give to the Lord a heave offering throughout your generations. 22. And if you err and do not observe all these commandments which the Lord has spoken to Moses. 23. Even all that the Lord has commanded you by the hand of Moses, from the day that the Lord commanded Moses, and henceforth throughout your generations. 24. Then it shall be, if the error is committed in the presence of the congregation, all the congregation shall offer one bullock for offering for a sweet savour to the Lord, with its meal offering and its drink offering, according to the ordinance thereof, and one kid of the goats for a sin offering. 25. And the priest shall make atonement for the whole congregation of the children of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them, for it was an error. And they shall bring their offering, a sacrifice made by fire to the Lord, and their sin offering to the Lord for their folly. 26. And it shall be forgiven all the congregation of the children of Israel, and the proselyte who sojourns among them, because all the people had erred. 27. And if any person sins through an error, then he shall offer a she-goat of the first year for a sin offering. 28. And the priest shall make atonement for the person who sins. Then he sins, when he sins by an error before the Lord, to make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. 29. You shall have one law for him who does anything through ignorance, both for the children of Israel and for the proselytes who sojourn among you. 30. But the person who commits sin willingly, whether he be of you or of the proselytes, the same blasphemes before the Lord, and the person shall be cut off from among his people. 31. Because he has despised the word of the Lord and has broken his commandments, that person shall utterly be cut off. His iniquity shall be upon him. 32. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. And those who found him gathering sticks, 33, brought him to Moses. And Aaron, and to all the congregation. 174. Rebellion against Moses. 34. And they put him in prison. Because it had not been declared what should be done to him. 35. And the Lord said to Moses, the man shall surely be put to death, and all the congregation shall stone him with stones outside the camp. 36. And all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses. 37. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, 38. Speak to the children of Israel, and bid them that they make fringes on the borders of their mantles throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringes of the borders a ribbon of blue. 39. And it shall be to you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord your God, and do them, that you may not go astray, seeking after your own hearts and your own mind, after which you used to go astray. 40. That you may remember and do all my commandments and be holy to your God. "41. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God." Chapter 16. Now Korah the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peelath, sons of Reuben, started a faction. 2. And they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 chiefs of the assembly, who at that time were men of renown. 3. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said to them, is it not enough for you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, that the Lord is among them? Wherefore then do you lift up yourselves before the whole congregation of the Lord? 4. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. 5. And he spoke to Korah and to all his company, and said to them, in the morning the Lord will show who are his and who are holy, and he will cause them to come near to him, and those whom he has chosen he will cause to come near to him. 6. Do this, take for yourselves censers, you Korah and all your company. 7. And put fire into them, and put incense into them before the Lord tomorrow, and it shall be that the man whom the Lord chooses, he shall be holy. This is enough for you, O you sons of Levi. 8. And Moses said to Korah, hear again, O you son of Levi. 9. Is it not enough for you that the God of Israel has separated you from the whole congregation of Israel, and brought you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation, to minister to them? 10. And he has brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you? And do you seek the priesthood also? 11. Therefore both you and all your company gather yourselves together before the Lord tomorrow. And what is Aaron? That you should murmur against him. 12. And Moses sent a call to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they said, we will not come up. 13. Is it not enough for you that you have brought us out of the land that flows with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, that you should also make yourselves princes over us? 14. Moreover, you have not brought us into a land that flows with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Even if you should put out our eyes, we will not come up. 15. And Moses was greatly displeased, and said to the Lord, respect not thou their offerings, because I have not taken an ass from one of them, neither have I hurt one of them. 175. Punishment of the rebels. 16. And Moses said to Korah, present yourselves, you and all your company, before the Lord, you and they and Aaron tomorrow. 17. And take every man his censer, and put fire into it, and put incense into it, and bring before the Lord every man his censer, 250 censers. You also, Aaron, each of you his censer. You also, and Aaron, each of you his censer. 18. So they took every man his censer, and put fire into it, and laid incense upon it, and stood at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. And 19. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the congregation. 20. And the Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, 21. Separate yourselves from them from the midst of this congregation, that I may destroy them in a moment. 22. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and shall wrath come upon all the congregation? 23. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, 24. Speak to all the congregation, saying, keep away from about the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. 25. And Moses rose up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to all the congregation and said to them, depart from the tents of these sinful men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in their sins. 27. So they withdrew from the tents of Korah, Dathan and Abiram, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents with their wives and their sons and their little ones. 28. And Moses said, Hereby you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, and I have not done them out of my own mind. 29. And if these men die in the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. 30. But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all things that belongs to them, and they go down alive with all that belongs to them into the Sheol, then you shall know that these men have provoked the Lord. 31. And when Moses finished speaking these words, the ground split asunder under them. 32. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, and their households, and all their men who were with Korah, and all their goods. 33. They and all that belonged to them went down alive into Sheol, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. 34. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, saying, Lest the earth swallow us up also. 35. And they came out of a fire from before the Lord and consumed the 250 that offered incense. And the Lord spoke to Moses. 36. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, 37. Speak to Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, and take up the censers from among the burnt men, and scatter the fire yonder, for they are sanctified. 38. The censers of these who sinned against their own souls, make them thin plates for a covering of the altar, for they offered them before the Lord. Therefore they are holy, and they shall be a sign to the children of Israel. 39. So Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers, which they who were burned had offered incense, and they made thin plates for a covering of the altar. 40. To be a memorial to the children of Israel, so that no stranger who is not of the descendants of Aaron come near to offer incense before the Lord, that he is not as Korah and all his company, whom the earth opened up and swallowed, just as the Lord had spoken by the hand of Moses. 41. But on the morrow all the 176. The rod that budded. All thy congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron, saying, You have killed the people of the Lord. 42. And when all the congregation was gathered against Moses and Aaron, they turned toward the tabernacle of congregation, and behold, a cloud covered, and the glory of the Lord appeared. 43. And Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of congregation. 44. And the Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, 45. Get away from the midst of this congregation, that I may destroy them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. 46. And Moses said to Aaron, Take a censer and put fire therein from off the altar, and put on incense, and carry it quickly to the congregation, and make an atonement for them, for wrath has come out from before the Lord. The plague has already begun among the people. 47. And Aaron took it as Moses commanded, and ran into the midst of the congregation, and behold, the plague had already begun among the people. And he put on incense and made atonement for the people. 48. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague ceased. 49. Now those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died in the sedition of Korah. 50. And Aaron returned to Moses at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the plague had ceased.